Just a bit of a sundown. We're going to get onto the video in a minute, and I know people have asked me. I've done a review on this just there previously, and people have asked me where do you get it from. The easiest thing for me to say is you can get it on Amazon, and no doubt I've probably put an Amazon link down below just if you want to check them out. So very handy tool, palm, well, call it a palm, cordless sander. Ideal for just sanding doors down. Right, catch you later. I'm going to get the paint out. Right, my people, you've seen what I've been doing in the bit of an intro. We're going to be using Tikkurila paint today, and we're going to use the Everal Aqua 40, which is a 40% sheen level. And Everal Aqua in the range for Tikkurila paints is a paint that can be used outside, it can be used inside. It is more of an acrylic based paint, so it's not the hybrids. I have to say it's one of the nicest paints that I spray. But today, and that is spraying with HVLP or actual airless. But today we've got Dave the Door. Doris has just retired for today. We've got Dave the Door. We gave it a sand down using the DeWalt, and I've gave it a coat of Helmi undercoat that I'd already got in stock, which was in a greeny colour. It actually, if anything, it might be a little bit too deep for the colour that I'm putting on with the Everal Aqua. Now, Everal Aqua do their own Everal undercoat, but you can intermix your Tikkurila products like that. So you can actually use a Helmi undercoat under an Everal Aqua, whether it be an Everal Aqua, is it 10 or 40, or even if you want to go to the glossers. Don't forget, Tikkurila also do grip primers, which is the Otex Aqua. Again, you could use the Otex Aqua as your coat and then your two top coat finish if you want. If you want to know about it, ask me questions below. But today, for the purpose of this video, we've sanded the door down. I've obviously sanded it down with the bigger DeWalt. I've coated it up with the Helmi. I've given it a fine sand with a worn, it's a P240 Merca Gold Flex pad. I've dusted it off, and I've got my ProDec tack cloths, tack rags. Now, people are asking me what I'm using and where do I get them from. For ease, I've just put some links below to Amazon, because if you have got an Amazon account, it's easy to click the link and just take you to what I've been using or something very similar if you want to purchase. So yeah, no sponsorship or anything, but it's nice if you use the links that I've given because it shows you what I've got. So that's that. Right, let's talk about the paint. Everal Aqua 40, nice sheen level, and it will go over that Helmi, really nice Helmi undercoat. Now, today's brush, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to go with the Canna Aqua that I've used previously. This is the Canna Aqua Premier brush. Now, the idea of this brush is I've shown you on previous videos, you actually use it to apply your first coats of paint, and then you'd use a softer bristle to finish off with. Now I'm going to see what this is like for applying over the undercoat. Now when I used the undercoat, I did use, it's a really nice brush. I am using the Heritage a lot. That was put on really nicely with that. But let's just see if there's a bit of a difference with this. It's a little bit firmer bristle, but that doesn't matter too much for this first coat, and we'll see how we go. Now, I'm not doing the edges because they're for another video, which is the other side. We're just doing the face. And The purpose of this video is to show you that there are other paints out there, and I've not really touched on the Tikkurila Everal range of paints, but I want to show you how nice a finish it actually is. And the sheen level, I hate the word go to, but it is one of those paints that if I want a nice sheen level, particularly with spraying, it is one of those paints that I do go for, because I know it sprays nicely, and as I'm doing it now, it brushes nice. Just doing the mouldings. This brush does hold a nice amount of paint. You just work from one side of the kettle and you bed your paint into your bristles. You don't need loads of paint in your bristles. You just need to make sure that you've got it, I'll say fully loaded. You know, like a burger or a kebab, fully loaded. Right, just going around the edges. So far so good with the amount of paint that this is applying. Temperature today in the UK is not too bad. We've had a bit of rain, so humidity might be I feel a bit sticky. Wipe your brush down when you come to laying off. And it's literally tips of the bristles for laying off. Just neatly neaten up the sides. Nice. And then heel of your brush, just wipe that fat edge down. No need to be using any tape. Right, leave me be. I'm going to coat this door up, let it dry, and then I'll come back later on and we'll give it a bit of a discuss. Now, the beauty, quickly on this one, beauty with the Helmi products and Everal Aqua, the Tikkurila, really, it's touch dry within half an hour, depending on your conditions. You can get an undercoat on and a first top coat on in the same day within a few hours. It's always nice to leave that to harden up as your first top coat before you come back to a second day of actually applying your second top coat finish. So 2 coats on in a day, your undercoat and a first top coat, and then your finish coat, your second top coat. I would advise do it the next day. You'll find it goes on a lot easier. It does slightly reactivate, probably the wrong words, reactivate it. It does slightly reactivate it if you try and rush it. So let it harden off overnight, and then your top coat is a dream to apply. So I'll crack on and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Right, I'm actually back at it, same day. Now, I've probably been, I'll say 6 or 7 hours since I first put that first top coat on. Now, all I've done is I've just used my Gold Flex, Merca Gold Flex pad, just nibbed it down, dusted it off, and a bit of a tack rag. Now, I'm going to coat it up for the second coat. You won't see me doing that. I'm just doing my talky bit. Once I've coated it up, then we'll come back and do a quick review on what it's like. Now, first impressions of using the can I do it or can I not? Aqua brush, which is, it's the one that I've said earlier. It's the one you bang your paint on, and really you'd probably use a finer finished can of brush to flow out your bristles and everything. If you've seen that brush with the white, the albino, I'm going to call it the albino brush. I'll be honest, I don't really get on with it that well. So I'm just going to see what this Canna Aqua is like for actually finishing off. Will it give a nice finish on that door like I get with my monarch brushes that I use? I do like that Knorr heritage brush, and also Arrowworthy's that have got a nice bristle as well. So let's see, and we'll talk about it afterwards. So far I can just see a little bit of brush marks in the surface. Now, this paint I've used straight out the tin. I've not thinned it. Quite possibly you could put a splash of water to it, but I want a bit of build up and a bit of coverage. So I'm going to crack on with it as it is. It's not too thick. It's got, I have to say, it's got a nice smell to it. It's got more of an ammonia smell, which is a nice indication to say that it is more of an acrylic based product. But no, let me just crack on with this. Grind my mouldings again. I'm going to lay it off, let it dry, and then we'll come back and do your talkie. The conflab. There we have it. I coated that up beside the second coat on it now, and I've probably been a couple of hours since I did that, so it's nice and dry. It's not fully cured. Give that a few days. Now, what I like about the Tikkurila, whether it be Helmi or this Everal Aqua, how quick it actually dries. Now, I said earlier, you can get 2 coats on in a day. I've actually got 3 coats on in a day because I did an early morning coat up with the undercoat, which was a Helmi undercoat, and then I've done 2 Everal Aqua 40s, and I'm quite impressed. It's one of the paints I've probably not really tested in my studio, but if you want to look at some videos there, I have them on real world experience where I've been spraying, and I use Everal Aqua 40 on inside jobs. I love it to spray. I like the finish of it. Prefer it over Helmi 30, to be honest. Everal Aqua 40's got a nice finish to it. It's that little bit harder wearing finish, and with it being an exterior paint as well, which the Helmi 30 isn't, you've got a little bit more, I'll say there's a bit more probably flexible surface to it. How true that is, I don't know, because if you've got wood moving outside, most things will crack anyway. Brush wise, washes out lovely. The acrylic base of that, with it not being the hybrid with the alkyd. I keep going on about paints with alkyd resins in. This hasn't got it. It washes out nicely. I've got no sticky feel to the bristles. The can of brush application, second coat was lovely. I can, naturally, you can obviously see, and I'm looking sideways on, I can actually see a little bit of a brush mark to it. I'm not too worried about that. The brush is a bit firmer than what I'm used to, either, let's just say the Arrowworthies or the Monarchs, or even the Knorr have a little bit of a softer bristle tip for laying off. But all in all, that's not a bad finish. I think you'd be quite impressed. Again, I keep saying about people who are probably used to oil-based paints. Give these paints that you've probably never heard of, or you go into places like Paintwell, do Tikkurila. You can get online from B&Q Tikkurila paints, but all it is shipped from the Tikkurila head office in Scotland. So it's not a B&Q stocked product, but you can get it online and get it delivered to you. So if you want to try it, I'd say give it a go. I do like Tikkurila paints. And this is one of these ones that if I've got Tikkurila to paint on skirting boards, doors, inside personally, I'd be going for that Everal Aqua 40. I like the finish. I've got to pick the door up. I'll bring it to you. I'll bring Dave over. Can you see? Yeah, you can see with the ring light. There's a nice sheen to that. And once that's hardened, can you just see it? There's a nice sheen. There's a lovely sheen to it. It's not dry. Some of the paints that are more eggshelly are flatter finishers. If you go to the videos in product testing list, the WRX eggshell, I find that a very dry finish. Some people like that drier eggshell finish, but to me it is a bit too matte. The satins, like this, have got that little bit of a sheen element to it, which I prefer. Gives a bit of life. But don't forget, a flatter finish can hide a multitude of imperfections. So if you've got ceilings, you've got woodwork that is quite knocked about, you might want to go for a flatter finish to give the visual overall appearance of something looking smoother. So that's your lesson of the day. But all in all, this applies lovely. Don't forget, an undercoat with 2 top coats. The coverage of that, stroke opacity, it's a green. But I'd probably say my undercoat was a little bit too... I'll just show you what my undercoat was. step across. My undercoat was a Helmi, which was a mix of can you see that? It was quite a deepish colour. Not to worry, because the 2 top coats over the top counterbalanced it. Now I know a lot of people go on about, oh yeah, but speed and time and everything like that for putting 2 top coats on over an undercoat. There's a reason why you put 2 top coats on. One of the reasons is it helps you, because if you've missed anything with that first coat, you're going to catch it with the second. But also, it's that build-up of the 2 finish coats that gives you the overall finish that you're requiring. If you go over a dry finish, i.e. the undercoat, and then put an Everal Aqua 40 over the top, that first top coat will slightly soak in and give you a dulled off first top coat. But once that's drying, then you put your second one in, sitting on itself, no problem. That's the finish you want. So all in all, I'm going to put this back and say to you, it's one of those paints you need to try. I like it. The results are good. It's a safe paint to use in houses, toys, anything, you know what I mean. Give it a go, because it's another one on your list of paints to try. And I will say to you is, you'll feel what paints you prefer, and you'll go to the paint you like more than the paint you don't. Don't just stick with the main brands that you think, oh, a Crown, a Dulux, a Jono's will be fine. You might not find those are suited to your way of paint. I'll say that way of painting. The newer paints that are coming through, but I can't say newer paint because Tikkurila's been around. We've been using it for years. There's paints that you've probably not heard of because they're coming in from Europe or elsewhere that might suit your painting style and also your budget. I don't know. Price-wise, everything seems to be about 50 quid for about a 2.5 litre when you're looking at the, I don't know, Technos, Isomat, Tikkurila, they're all around about that price. And as I keep saying, if there's 10, 15 quid difference in a tin of paint, what's that on the price of a job and your labour? And on that note, thanks very much for listening. See you on the next one.